All right. It was Bohdan. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yes, yes, I believe that's how English speakers pronounce it. Yes,
And
yes.
in Ukrainian, Russian, I don't know what language you speak.
Well, in Ukrainian, it's Bohdan. It's a little bit different. Stress remains disputable topic. Some people say Bohdan, some people say Bohdan. I go with second option. As long as it's not some, Johnny or something. I'm good.
Yeah, sweet. Awesome. All righty. Awesome. Thank you for coming on, Bohdan. Much appreciated.
Sure.
So you live in the Ukraine.
Yes, I live in Ukraine indeed, for sure.
Yeah.
That's true.
How old are you?
26.
26. Nice. Still nice and young.
Yes,
That's good. And what do you do for work?
I believe so. So I'm an English teacher. I've been teaching this language for 7, 8 years, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's your full-time job?
Yes, it's a full-time job, but I'm not talking about like doing it in school. With all due respects to those guys, I would not be satisfied with the pay. So I've been doing it online. I've been working all my life remotely.
Yeah.
That's what I'm into.
Yeah, perfect. Currently in the Ukraine, obviously there is the war going on. And where you are you nice and safe or
Well, relatively, as I like to repeat, nowhere in Ukraine is really nice and safe. In fact, nowhere in Europe is really nice and safe as long as Russia keeps existence. And I don't know if that episode gets marked down by YouTube or something. I'll be honest, I'll be raw honest with you. And the opinion of Russia might not be much appreciated by YouTube, but nonetheless, if that's what you're after, the truth, I believe. So, yeah, so I'm in central, I'm pretty close to the capital, which is Kiev. 80 kilometers away from Kiev. Yeah, so in terms of safety, it is as safe as it can get currently. There are apparently other regions in my country that are much more suffering and tortured thanks to Russia. But where I currently am, it's relatively safe.
now you can say what you want to say. There's no holding back here. It's all good. So have you lived where you are currently your whole life?
Pretty much, yes. Well, with a few exceptions, I've happened to live for some time in Kiev and some other cities, but mostly, yeah, I've got a private house here. I've been enjoying living here. It's a small town, and I've got a small forest next to my house. So, I'm an nature man. I'm a village man. I would not mess with the city. I tried that. I don't like the hustle. I don't like the sound, the noise, all those cars exhaust and shit. That ain't for me.
Nah, yeah, that's fair enough. Not for all of us. So have you been to Kiev in the last 2 years since all of this has kicked
Absolutely.
off?
In the last probably week,
Yeah.
yeah, I absolutely have for sure, for sure. Yeah, well, back when the war only began, and by the war we should probably mean the full-fledged war, the full invasion, because the semi-war has been going on questionably for 8 years. So it all entered a semi-active phase back in 2014. A lot of memorable historical events took place in 2014. Yeah, but back in 2022, February 24th, yeah, they invaded. They full-fledged crossed the borders of a sovereign independent country, and they invaded like it's back with Nazi Germany or something. Yeah, so after that began, there was obviously a hiatus in traveling. It wasn't safe at all. But as soon as the thing got a bit more suppressed by Ukraine, thanks to Ukraine, I guess, thanks to our soldiers, I was able to live to move around. I was able to travel, and first thing I did, I visited a few places around Kiev, around central part, just to see what's up. And I felt bad. I had previously never felt that feeling of when your heart is literally bleeding because you see what they have done to your cities, and that's one feeling that a lot of people will never, luckily, I believe, will never experience. But when you walk around in a place in a park that used to be beautiful and prosperous and developed, and all you can see is just buildings burned out and missiles and the holes in the ground from the missiles. It transforms you. It undeniably transforms you, and a lot of priorities get changed, in your life.
Yeah, I can imagine that'd be.
That was quite a extended answer. I'm sorry.
No, absolutely. No, I'm happy for it. I love it. That'd be quite surreal to see and very traumatic, and well, to a lot of people, especially those affected directly. But is life?
Yeah, people have been damaged the most. Obviously, people dying. It's like when a missile hits Kiev, for example, and you see the report of how many dead they are. I personally keep thinking about people that I know from Kiev, and I keep wondering if they're alive. And that's utmost surreal feeling that a lot of people won't be able to relate to. you know. So, but it's like, it's funny, I've been talking to people about that. I said, you know, could we even imagine shit like that a couple of years back, when the air alarm goes off and you were like watching the sky waiting for a drone to hit or a missile to hit, you know. But it adds up to the quality of life, and that's why I keep repeating to my students and people I love, best country in the world. I can never see myself living in any other place right now. It adds up to the value of my life, to the quality of my life. I appreciate my country, my people. I cherish life more if there's a constant threat, a danger. And again, I mean, what I'm experiencing is nothing compared to what soldiers in the front line are experiencing. So, you know, so I think I have it good. I think I have it relatively good.
Yeah, it's terrifying stuff. Do you know anyone that has had to go and fight?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I do know a lot of people for sure.
Yeah. At
Yes.
least there hasn't been, I suppose, conscription or anything. I don't know if you call it that over
Mm-hmm.
there, but I suppose that's good.
Mm-hmm.
So is life just carrying on as sort of like
Absolutely,
the
yeah,
new
pretty
normal?
much. Well, you know, people are interested in organisms. We are able to adapt fantastically quickly,
Yeah.
and you get used to it. And we've got lots of examples globally of people getting used to. You know, sometimes I view it a bit negatively, because I believe, well, there is this sometimes quite representative situation when people must evacuate, and there are some people that are particularly, you know, cemented in their mind and too narrow-minded, and that's not necessarily negative, but they don't want to relocate, they don't want to get evacuated. And parts of me relates to it, parts of me can understand it, because, you know, we have our traditions, we have our land. Like, for example, I love my house, I've invested a lot of time, money and effort in my house. I would probably think twice before agreeing to evacuate. And I was offered, I was invited to Canada, to Poland. I could be abroad right now if I want to, you know, but, and allow key disrespect people who are abroad right now, but to each his own. I'm
Yeah.
nobody to judge, but, you know, that's just my opinion.
No, absolutely. I suppose it just depends if you've got young children or not. And
No,
I don't
I
know.
know. Yeah.
I don't think I'd ever fully
Well, yes, sure.
understand.
Having a children plays a huge part for sure. You know, if I had children, I would probably view it differently. I would probably get. I don't know about myself. I would make absolutely sure that the children are safe. You know, so
Yeah.
they would probably have to be evacuated.
Any Russians living in Ukraine before they started the invasion? Is there a bit of hostility towards them now? Kind of all.
Well, so speaking about the hostility towards Russia, it was one of the excuses used by Putin to invade. You know, because according to this midget, we apparently treated Russia inadequately, and there was certain level of suppression towards Russian language and towards Russian-speaking people. Kiev was, and some people might still say is, predominantly Russian-spoken. You know, so there are plenty of people speaking Russian. Luckily, happily, the statistic is changing right now. I'm a big supporter of Ukrainian language. I firmly believe that in a country called Ukraine, we must predominantly speak Ukrainian language. We can get into it a little bit later. I believe that that could be actually, in my opinion, the core of a lot of problems. Language is important and it matters greatly. But regarding the suppression of Russian, the government was penetrated with pro-Russian parties. There were plenty of, like, I can name so many cities that were predominantly Russian spoken. You know, Russian citizens were occupying serious state positions. You know, we were very pro-Russian. It's only recently, arguably since 2014, that Ukrainian nation, Ukrainian society has consciously decided to move towards Europe, you know, towards European side, because we just got like it's you know, everybody knows it, the tradition, the cultural impact, the language impact, films, series. Oh my god, you should watch this fucking series. I was a big fan of this Russian made horseshit series when I was little. It's like, you know, I can name a lot of products. Music, oh Jesus, books, a lot of Russian authors, a lot of Russian artists. You know, it was very intertwined with our culture, and a lot of people forgot our culture, Ukrainian rich culture, due to this Russian culture. You know, to these days, when I scroll Instagram and somebody keeps praising fucking Fyodor Dostoevsky or Leo Tolstoy, I'm like, okay, yeah, I get it. I get it. Can we please stop jerking off to these guys? You know, I get it. They were kind of pioneering in some regard, you know, in their sphere, but Jesus Christ, is the whole world resolving around what did he write? Idiot. How can I treat a guy who wrote what is that? The thing called idiot? I don't want to read about no idiots. You know, I'm done with that.
Yeah, that's fair enough. So Ukrainian did have a big Russian influence then.
Oh, indeed, indeed, absolutely, absolutely. If we had not, well, you know, there's an opinion that if Ukraine had been exclusively Ukrainian spoken, and if Ukraine had been a bit more nationalistic, and if we had not had this huge Russian opposition inside the country, he would never have invaded. He would never have invaded, and I tend to believe so. I mean, it's arguable topic. I bet you know, a clown of his level, the Putin is, he would come up with another shitty excuse to invade. You know,
Yeah.
but I believe if everybody was speaking mostly Ukrainian, we had been a bit more. You know, we had this low value syndrome. You know, we have always, I want to believe until now, we had always appreciated ourselves less. We had always looked up to them because it's like, oh, USSR, we're Moscow. Every artist in Ukraine wished to go to Moscow because that's where the money is, that's where the fame, the recognition is. Now it's different. Like now, Russia is a sign of you know, low self-respect. You know, a sign of bad taste.
Yeah.
So nobody dreams of going to Moscow anymore.
Have you been to Russia?
Hell no.
Nah, never
No.
been. Never been.
Hell no. Nope. Nope. Never been, never wanted to, never will. Hell
Yeah,
no.
that's fair enough.
Unless Ukraine occupies Russia, you know, only that.
Is Are you scared that Russia will take over all of Ukraine?
Hell no. Hell no.
No,
No,
don't
I
think.
ain't scared of these bitches. No way. No, I mean, listen, I will do what I gotta do. You know, I mean, I've been thinking about it. The fact that I live, like, for example, I recently returned from the west side of Ukraine, and the west side of Ukraine is super nationalistic, very Ukrainian spoken, you know, beautiful place. I feel psychologically and emotionally, and I guess physically, the best when I'm surrounded by only Ukrainian speaking people. The moment I hear Russian language, I'm like, ah, yeah, this bitch again, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't know if he's a traitor. You see, that's the problem with language. When I hear some rant
Yeah.
in Russian language in the supermarket, like, bitch, are you trying to, well, are you snitching on some, you know, defense forces positions in my country? Who are you? You know, show me your phone, you know, show me your recent photos.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm joking. I'm not messing with people.
That'd be kind of interesting though, like having
Yeah.
Russian speaking people there, and with all this going on, you'd be kind of, are you with us? Are you with them?
Yeah,
Like,
well, you can't know. You know, you can't know, and it's a legit concern. Though, for the sake of argument, I must confess that I don't know personally, but from what I heard statistically, a lot of soldiers are Russian speaking. You know, so it's like, you know, you can't. You see, you can't. Russia can't have any reasonable argument even regarding language now because soldiers are speaking Russian. A lot of them, they're speaking Russian. And that made a bit of a conflict because according to the government, to the constitution of Ukraine, if you are a soldier, if you serve, if you're in the military, obviously, apparently you must speak Ukrainian, sorry, no English. Maybe I bet a lot of them speak English. Yeah, so that's a bit of a conflict. But even that goes to prove that we had never had any particular, you know, restrictions and limitations for Russian language.
yeah.
So, yeah.
Would you say that Ukrainian is the top language, or would that be Russian?
To me, I don't, well, you would have to define what top means. I love it. For me personally, it's a melodic, mellow, and soft and beautiful. And compared to, you know, spiky Russian sounds, I
Yeah.
don't like it.
Yeah, that's fair.
I did speak Russian many years ago, and I think I even have some Russian language books behind me. Few of them, very few of them. But yeah, so yeah,
Yeah.
but I'm all into Ukrainian. I'm a patriot of my country. You know, if I have to serve, I will.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's it.
That's good though. It's a good way to be, especially in this time. Do you have any Russian?
Rare, right?
Yeah, very rare, very rare. But do you have any Russian friends?
I used to, for sure. I used
Used
to. Yeah, we
used to.
don't. Yeah,
Did
we don't
they,
talk anymore. Yeah.
because of the war?
Well, yeah, it's not with some people. We never got to talk about it. Some people, I must confess, were supportive. Like maybe one or two people from there. When the war began, they reached out. They asked what they can do and whether they can be supportive. So a part of me appreciates their concern, you know, but another part of me is like, yeah, well, get out of Russia, don't pay taxes, and don't support the war. You know, that's what you can do. So I'm gonna tell you this though. I used to work as a teacher. Well, so I say I used to because I had to switch a couple of jobs when the war began, and I used to have some students from Russia. And when the war began, they relocated to nearest countries. and that is respected by me. That's appreciated by me, because I think if you're not handicapped, if you're a adult individual and you make money, you must have responsibilities. You must be conscious of where your taxes go. And it's not even about taxes. Even if we exclude taxes from the picture, it's like my moral standard would not allow me to live in a country that constantly invades sovereign countries. And it's not only Ukraine that been invaded by Russia.
Do you think that a lot
So
of
those people, good.
do you think that a lot of Russians are also very patriotic for their country, like sort of, I don't want to say brainwashed, but very just pro Russia?
Certainly a lot, certainly a lot. And that raises an interesting question, whether an average civilian from Russia is anyhow responsible. And I firmly and wholeheartedly claim that they are, merely for inability to take actions. Back when we had problems with our president in 2013-14, we went out on one of the local main squares and we had a revolt and we protested and something was done. Now, there's an opinion that usually massive protests do not happen without the assistance of certain intels, certain organizations. Say whatever you will, probably the USA got involved as much as Russia got involved in that situation. But at the same time, one of the main differences between people in Russia and Ukraine is that we can't bear shit. We can't put up with something that we don't like. Like, you shouldn't, international environment should not assume that Zelensky, my president, is overwhelmingly supported and everybody just prays to him. We still have huge opposition. We have big names in oppositions, and you go to his Instagram page, you read the posts, there will always be this couch experts, who dislike this, dislike that. They had a friend whose had a friend who had that and that. And that goes like this, rumors. And yeah, so we still, the current state. And yeah, and getting back to the topic of average Russian, so it's inability to take action. It's absolutely passive attitude towards what's going on globally. It's the lack of desire to be compassionate. Yeah, they are responsible. Every single citizen of Russia is absolutely responsible. So to say that the whole Russian country, every single person in Russia is captured by Putin and held prisoner, it would not be completely unfair, but it would be completely unfair to say that they have no rights to change. The simplest thing that everyone can do is just move out, relocate, become a homeless person. I don't know, go broke, figure shit out. You're an adult person, you've got the responsibility for your life. You can start shit over, And now I have a student who was born in Russia and he lives right now, I think Serbia. I think he's in Serbia right now. And I gladly have lessons of English with him because I respect his, national position and his moral position. He's very supportive of Ukraine. So yeah, not all people are fucked up. Indeed, 99% of Russians are.
Yeah. Do you think a lot of it's fear for the Russian? Like, if you're a citizen of Russia?
They are scared. But we have to be more scared. We have to be more scared. And by the way, speaking about fear, my attitude to fear has changed a little bit since the war began. I'm a bit toxic in this regard. I understand and I can relate, and I've been afraid a lot of times in this case. Again, nothing remotely compared to what people in the front line experience. The huge respect goes out to them. But there's different type of fear. There's a fear that your midget fucking pedophile president will do some sanctions on your ass. And there's also a fear of a drone hitting your house, when your nearest and dearest die.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know. 1 year ago, I'm sitting at 3 a.m. at my laptop, opening the window, and I hear this, that sound of a drone approaching. So that's the kind of fear that I'm talking about. Being afraid of your president doing some shit. Get out of here.
Yeah, I don't know what would happen if someone spoke up against Putin though in Russia. Probably wouldn't see them again.
Yeah, well, they gotta move out, and by doing nothing changes.
Yeah,
if you do nothing happens. So Navalny died yesterday, a few days ago. A lot of people saw some sort of salvation in that biggest opposition representative who was put in jail 3 years, 2 years, 1 year before that. So funny how some Russians still grieve. I mean, there's a reason to be sad when a figure like that dies, because he was apparently very, very loyal to his thing, So, but then again, I mean, was he some sort of Jesus in this whole situation? He had his own issues. So, it's like it runs deeper. It's deeper than just the government. It's deeper than just Putin's party.
Yeah.
It runs in their mentality. It's in their blood. They for some reason think they have historical rights to invade Ukraine and possess some rights for us. When you might have seen the interview of this fucker Carlson, guy
Oh,
with Putin. You
yeah.
heard what Putin said.
Yeah, I watched
Motherfucker
that.
went back billions of years before. That's very indicative. That shows their whole mentality. They still live back in the USSR. Well, wake up, dummies. That shit fell apart.
Yeah. Fell apart for a reason. Do you think that once Putin is gone, that it will be different? Or do you think the next person will just have that same mindset where he's
It might be different. There's hope. It might be different, but it depends on who's the next person, because they actually have had a different president. Believe me or not, they had the different president, Medvedev, who was a puppet of Putin. So it depends. I believe this guy Putin, he has thoughts about putting somebody else after him and then somebody else after that person. I think it's all figured out. So yeah, I'm not particularly concerned what happens to that swamp of a country. I'm concerned about guarantees for Ukraine and militarization of Ukraine. That's what must be done. I think we need to. But then again, speaking about guarantees, we're in a really tough position because we thought we had guarantees back when we exchanged our nuclear weapon. We were arguably country number one in post-Soviet territory for the level of nuclear protection. We had a lot of nuclear missiles, and we exchanged that shit in exchange for guarantees that we remain independent, sovereign country, and should any country invade us, the States, the United States, the UK, I think some other countries, well, these two big countries that I can think of will immediately ensue with their actions. That ain't what happened. That ain't what happened. So now I have one of the biggest problem that I seem to have is when those American people, average Americans, that can't seem to figure out why the US sent so much money over to us. They tend to forget that they selected the government which signed an official document, which is called Budapest Memorandum, that claimed and promised and proved to protect the sovereign borders of Ukraine should any other country invade it. So by sending money and having zero boots on the ground, zero soldiers, I believe if I had been an American, I would have considered it a damn great deal, to be honest. And by the way, when you hear these huge numbers like billions, 60 billions, this, that, first of all, it doesn't get to us within a minute. It's not like Zelensky is receiving it on his personal bank account immediately, directly from Joseph Biden. That ain't what it happens. It takes a lot of fucking time. It's a lot of bureaucracy. Not full sums reach. I'm not gonna, refer to any statements. I just know that when they promise 60 bills, it's not 60 bills usually, and it's not next day. Same goes for Lend-Lease, same goes for military support. So yeah.
Was that the exchange with the nuclear weapons? Was that with the US?
It was including the US, including the UK, and a bunch of other countries. It's called Budapest Memorandum. I highly encourage all of you listeners,
Yeah, right.
yourself and American people, look that up. Yeah, when the US, the Soviet Union disintegrated, which was a quite reasonable consequence of the kind of lifestyle, I guess, and philosophy I would say that they were leading. Yeah, a lot of countries became independent, and we had a lot of nuclear weapon, and we gave it all up, for the exchange there, because hey, it's the United States. Yet when in 2014 Russia annexed the Crimean Peninsula, nobody did shit. Obama didn't do shit. Everybody was like, oh, it's Russia, I'm afraid of Russia. Russia ain't shit. How is that Russia spent years, maybe months, if not years, trying to take over a small city of Ukraine? Is that the second army in the world? Is that what you're talking about? If Russia intervened somehow with NATO or the United States, it would be gone within a minute. Moscow would burn, and that would be a hella nice picture to observe.
Well, it kind of answers one of the questions I had for you there. Do you think that the rest of the world is helping enough?
No, well, you see what's happening in America right now. They are pretty slow in terms of their support, and they have their own issues. I can relate. I can always understand how certain governments would prioritize their own country. They must, though. Again, I ain't nobody to tell to Joe Biden or Donald Trump what they've got to do, but I think supporting Ukraine is a great deal in terms of your security for the future, because Russia ain't stopping with Ukraine. Today they occupy Ukraine, tomorrow they go to Latvia, of which they have openly announced. So it's a great, yeah, but in terms of help, it's never enough. It's never enough. And I think the great indicator of sufficient help would be for Ukraine to win this war as fast as possible. A lot of people ask Zelensky when the war will be over, and as he said himself, I shouldn't be asked of that question. The question must be raised that when the Russia lose. So that's the real question, and why Russia is still somehow advancing, because there are certain territories in Ukraine that are under occupation, and then they take over. They take over. It's usually small villages, and the battles go on for months over those villages, but those villages are strategically important for logistics for Russia, whatever.
Yeah. Do you think, you did mention it? You did mention him. Sorry. Do you think that Donald Trump getting in could fix this? He did say that he wanted to.
Man, it's a big fucking question. That guy has got a big mouth for sure. I gotta give that to him. Motherfucker runs his mouth like nobody else. Surely not like Joe Biden. I mean, I don't know. Trump claims that he would put an end to this war within what, like 3 days or something.
24 hours or something, he said.
Yeah. Well, I've heard claims like that from other presidents that didn't work out. So
yeah.
The way I see it, I've thought about this a little bit. I think if Trump becomes a president, it might be a bittersweet thing for Ukraine, because I can see how Trump completely and totally cuts every single bit of support to Ukraine, and that would lead to us compromising the occupied territories, but perhaps saving the lives of people. But we can speak a little bit more about saving the lives of people, because the lives will be saved only temporarily. It will be a very short-term solution to a long-term issue. So for now, for next, maybe, I don't want to say how many years, lives will be saved, yes. But will Russia stop at that point with having only Donetsk, Luhansk, or Crimea occupied, a couple of other east regions? They won't, and I'm not talking out of my ass, because that's what history shows. It began in 2014, 8 years later, here we are. Yeah. So it will be a temporary solution, and temporary solutions don't work. We need a long-term fix. We need better guarantees. We need membership in NATO.
Yeah.
I think that's it. There are problems because a warring country can't be accepted as a NATO member. So it comes down to two factors: Ukrainian bravery and the lives of our boys and girls, and international aid support, so. But we shall see. I mean, who knows? But man, like Trump, there's this book, the Way to Unfreedom, right there.
Yeah.
That's not Zack Snyder. It's Timothy Snyder. Zack Snyder is a different guy. Timothy Snyder. Everybody must read that book to understand what kind of guy Trump really is. The ties with Russia are apparent, and people still praise him. I mean, I ain't American to tell them what to lecture them, but Jesus Christ, Trump is second biggest threat to humankind after Putin.
It's very interesting for someone who doesn't live in like an area like yourself and all that, because I've spent a bit of time in the States, and I wouldn't say I'm pro-Trump, but I'm probably a lot more towards Trump than I am Joe Biden. And
I can get why that is, sure.
And with the whole war thing, I suppose it's can't be any worse than currently. I guess if he's going to run his mouth, he's going to try and back it up.
He better do,
But like you said, it could only be a short-term fix for 4 years while he's there.
Yeah, I don't see any other. I don't think Putin would agree to something like, if America gives up the help, more territories of Ukraine. And by the way, again, so, okay, when I said people's lives will be saved, I wasn't entirely honest, because when Russia invades, many people die. Many people get raped, get tortured, mutilated, killed, kidnapped. How many freaking kids were illegally taken over the border from Ukraine to Russia? It's a crime. So we need a bit more strict support. We need a bit more, tougher support from the States and from all over the world. And it must be a little bit more immediate. But again, I understand that, in the Ukrainian international faces like this country that always begs for money, and Zelensky is like this showman who's touring all over the world asking for more and more money, and some dumbass people think that this money goes to somebody's pocket. The planet's journalism is centered around Ukraine. We are under the spotlight right now. There have been some scandals indeed. Ukraine, we are a young country. We must remember that. We're not like hundreds of years old. We became independent 1991. So we have our own issues. And the main issue with Ukraine is Soviet mentality with a lot of people from the government. We need more younger people in the government. That's what I personally believe. I have some leaders of opinions from YouTube, for example, that I completely and utterly trust my political opinion. Like if that guy says something, I'm with him because his reputation has been as clear as it can be, considering the fact that things are happening. So anyway, I digress. What the hell were we talking about?
No, that's so good. You did mention Latvia at one stage, that Russia want to take Latvia. Now
hell yeah,
my Eastern European geography is not very good. So is that
neither is mine, bro. My geography is like, hey, I'm out of my town, I'm lost. Yo, perfect. I'm out of my house, I don't know where to go.
Perfect. Okay, sweet. So is Latvia a bordering country with Ukraine?
No, I think it's not. I think there's Belarusia or Belarus. I don't even know how to pronounce this bitch-ass country. Yeah, so I think they are in between Ukraine and Latvia. At least back when I went to Latvia, I crossed Belarus. When I went to Latvia, that was one of the stop. Yeah. But you see, the plan for Putin is to bring the Soviet Union back.
Yeah,
this sick motherfucker wants to reify that fucking horse. He doesn't understand that horse ain't getting back. Bitch died a long time ago, and it died for a lot of reasons that they try to preserve right now in Russia. People couldn't have fun in the Soviet Union. A lot of people, you see sometimes when somebody praises the Soviet Union, they don't understand they had no toilet paper. Right now everybody shits about the capitalism, the variety of products, the inequality of wage and all this shit. Man, they had one type of candy, and that type of candy probably came from the United States, and it was impossible for 99% of people to get. If you got a candy for evening, oh, you must have killed someone. You better lock your door. Putin is coming for KGB is coming knocking at your window. You stole a piece of paper or something. That shit wasn't fun to live.
My auntie, her family are Yugoslavian, and Yugo, that's not a country anymore, but yeah, Yugoslavian, and they've been here for ages, and a lot
of country disintegrated.
They still speak Yugo, Russian, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, very interesting to sit there and listen to.
I had a podcast with a person from that region. Yeah, he was a soldier. Mario, shout out to Mario. He's a good guy. We had an interesting podcast. So he told me how the whole disintegration happened. Crazy story. He had to become a soldier at a very young age, and
Yeah.
Well, empires, man. It's all about these imperialistic mindsets of some leaders, and sometimes they hold up like freaking, I don't know, North Korea or China or something. But, they will be killed with their own avarice, with their own greediness.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely. So, where you live, how close are you to like the Russian border?
Not that close. It's like, I don't know how many kilometers. I have a couple of cities in between me and the border, Okay, so I'm in the central, Yeah. I mean, again, when people tell me south, east, west, yeah, I don't know what the hell that really means.
Yeah.
I can point on the map, that's all I need.
Yeah, that's fair enough. The cost of living over there, has it gone up since the war started?
I don't want to show up as I'm this sort of a mogul who blows money left and right. I personally have not noticed shit. I mean, I keep hearing shit like usually these are from pensioners, these poor guys who live off their pension. They're like, oh, the price of sugar has gone up. Yeah. I don't notice. I mean, honestly, I'll be honest with you. I'm not some sort of a rich guy. but when I go to the supermarket and buy food, I don't pay attention to price. And I told my girlfriend, the moment I start paying attention to price tags, something's wrong with my life. I got to change it. Now, somebody else a bit more educated would probably give you a better answer in terms of economy, in terms of inflation. Yeah, prices are growing. Generally prices are growing, like as is in each country. Tell you this though, back when the war began, there was a huge deficit of shit in supermarket. My God, I got scared for that. Thank God I had a little bit of food preserved in the basement, because I have a little bit of land, so I had at least some veggies and potatoes, so we could survive. But when it came to damn, shit looked like like USSR again,
Yeah, right.
It's crazy.
I had a gentleman on last week he lives in Gaza, like during the whole Palestine Israel thing going on at the moment. What even though you don't look at the prices, what would a carton of eggs cost? Would you have a rough idea?
For me,
yeah.
And I mean, you want me to? I can Google. I don't know. Let me check.
Only because he brought it up, and it was like it cost. I think it ended up being about $16 for 12 eggs, and it was $30 for a chicken.
Okay, so 10 things is 16. Okay, let me transfer that. So 10 eggs is in the neighborhood of $1.5. Yeah, as of now. Is that a lot?
I'll tell you. I'll have a look.
What currency do you have? Is it euros in Australia? Was it?
No, we're Australian dollars.
Okay. So 10 eggs. That's I never thought I would calculate it. So 10 eggs costs around. If you pay $2, those eggs are gotta be ostrich size eggs. I'm telling you.
$2.
Yes. Is that a lot?
Is that $2 your money or my money?
I think American, like United States dollars. Yeah. Well, it says 1.5, so I rounded it up.
Okay. Is that American dollars or?
Yes. Yeah. Okay, mind you, per 10 eggs, 10 eggs is fine.
That's cheap. That's
pricey.
That's cheap. Yeah. That is so cheap.
Man, I'm telling you, pay $3. Those guys they will provide you all kinds of, they will give you some sexual services, I bet.
That's about $2.30 here.
$2.30. Well, it's not much more expensive, right? But
no, that for 10 eggs here, we sell them by 12. You're probably paying about $7. Our money.
Oh, for 10 is 7?
Yeah.
Oh shit! Yeah, that's considerably more expensive.
Oh,
yeah. Man, $2, 10 eggs is yours. Easy.
That's good.
I mean, it's all right. It's all right. The electricity bill has risen a little bit recently, and when I mean recently, it's probably like 1 year ago or something. But again, opportunities are plenty. You can make money in Ukraine. Thanks to international support to countries that sort of invested money in Ukraine, we can still sell and buy cheap eggs. So that's great. What else does a man need, right? Bit of protein, that's it.
Cheaper eggs in Ukraine. Yeah, good.
Hell yeah.
No, that's interesting. It's going to be my new question, I think, that I ask everyone is how much does it cost for eggs over there?
That's your move question, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You can infer a lot of information about a country based on the eggs price. Well, man, we got a lot of chickens. I used to have chickens myself. You wouldn't imagine that Ukrainian eggs must be so expensive. Every next freaking average Joe has got chickens here.
Yeah, the cost of living in Australia has gone through the roof.
Really?
Yeah, I think mainly because we're just so far away from everything. We're just like no neighboring countries, no share a border with anyone. We're just.
Oh, lucky you! You have no idea how lucky you are.
Well, yeah,
no neighbors, no threats. There, you probably have your own issues, but at least no freaking neighboring country is of a threat to you.
Yeah, no.
So what? Australia is like an island or something?
Yeah, biggest island in the world.
Really?
Yep.
Damn, that's great. That's great. Wow.
Island and a continent, only place in the world. Yeah.
Sort of like New Zealand, right? I heard the other day.
Yeah. So New Zealand's our closest country.
New Zealand is crazy because you have to fly through over the ocean, right, to get there.
Yeah.
Is it the only way to? I was watching this documentary about Lord of the Rings, how they were shooting Lord of the Rings in New Zealand. It's like these guys are crazy. They took everything over on a plane. They flew everything and everyone over on a plane. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Australia has been supportive of Ukraine. You have made some financial support to us, so for that we are grateful. We're grateful to every country that supported us. So yeah,
Well,
it's like sometimes I feel bad because some refugees from Ukraine, they go abroad and they get themselves into, because people become entitled, like
yeah.
United European Union pays, at least some countries, they pay to Ukrainian refugees certain monthly payments for the status of refugee. And a
Yeah,
lot of
right.
Ukrainians become too entitled, and they stop doing shit. They stop it. Like if I was living right now in any European country, I'd probably be cleaning streets out of respect for the country that
Mm,
accepted my ass. And some people,
no.
they become a little bit too cocky, like,
Yeah.
oh, shut up, bitch, come back to Ukraine.
So the Ukrainian government still gives payments to Ukrainian
Oh
refugees.
yeah, for sure, well, to Ukrainian refugees abroad, you mean?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Sorry.
I think it's not us that pay them. I think it's the European countries that pay them. So
Okay.
it's part of European financial support. And Zelensky recently came up with the offer to stop or to at least cut that payment and redirect it here to Ukraine. And I support it. I stand by that because let the motherfuckers who live in Poland or any other countries work.
Yeah.
Support the country that give them shelter. You know, and money, because a lot of I know a lot of, like, fucking 90% of my students right now are abroad. I'm tired of this shit. Every time I got a new student, son of a bitch is somewhere in freaking, I don't know, Italy, Spain, and my ass is here. And the kind of shit that they give me, the problem that they have, oh god,
Yeah.
I'm tired of this shit.
Are your students mainly Ukrainian, or do you have
Oh
just
hell yeah, for sure.
yeah?
Only
Oh, okay, yeah.
Ukrainians for sure. Yeah. Well, no, that wouldn't be true. I also have a girl from man, Lebanon. Yeah, she's from
Oh,
Lebanon.
okay. Yeah.
She's from Lebanon.
Do you just do
But
you
no
just speak
Russians.
do you just speak the two languages, English and Ukraine?
Hell yeah. Well, I know Russian. I haven't spoken it for a while. I bet it's pretty shitty right now, but mostly it's Ukrainian and English. Yes.
Okay,
I'm
yeah.
trying to forget Russian. I'm putting it on my CV,
Yeah.
trying to forget.
Yeah. That's fair enough. That is fair enough. Another thing I did have was I was actually reading up on Ukraine today when I was in hospital today just because I think I broke a rib. Um, Chernobyl. Russia's
Mm-hmm.
taken Chernobyl. Chernobyl.
Oh, that would tell you the story though. So I think 2022 or maybe 23, I don't remember, might have been the initial year of war, 2022. My ass is sleeping, I ain't worried about shit. I'm as peaceful as I could get in the first year of war. And then all of a sudden my phone starts going off, exploding with notification and shit. And apparently Russian troops tried actively to take over the Chernobyl plant, so they were bringing a lot of cars, vehicles, and it was like, I think Zelensky went international on that same night and he warned international community that some shit is happening. So regarding the status of Chernobyl right now, I think it's not under occupation. I think they left. I might be wrong. It's been a while since I checked on that. But they did. Well, they're reckless, man. They're like pigs, they shit where they eat. When a bunch of Russian guys, like, here's the bottom line of this whole podcast. If a Russian dude tells you something, you should take it as completely opposite. Hear him and do totally opposite. You will always benefit from that. There's not one single Russian who will tell you truth. They all have their own subjective shit. They always distort the facts. So even to these days, they come up with a whole list of, they would come up with some Ukrainian fascism, the suppression of Russian speaking. It's all based on nothing. When you look into it, it's the same shit that Putin was pumping Carlson's ears with. Motherfucker went back to prehistoric time and began with that. So, and what's history got to do with the present right now?
Mm.
So what? Other countries must invade other countries, like China must invade Russia because part of Russian territory belonged at some point to China or something like that. It's irrelevant. We
Yeah.
had agreements, international modern agreements that Russia breached. So there must be consequences.
Do you think that there will be consequences, or you just get away with
I
it?
hope. I freaking hope. I freaking hope. I hope a lot of Russians die. That's what I do hope. Because when
Yeah.
only Russian troops die, that's unfair. Not only Ukrainian troops die, Ukrainian civilians, Ukrainian newborns die, Ukrainian women had been raped, kids, as I said, had been taken across the border. Russian civilians must suffer the repercussion and at most the worst consequence ever possible. I mean, I think what our plan B is. I might be wrong, but I think I heard Zelensky hint on something like that. He said, if Trump, I think it was in the context of Trump or something, I think we need to resort to some sort of nuclear intercourse, let me put it that way. And then what's left of Russia will be on Americans' consciousness, because if America stops supplying us and supporting us, something must be done. It's a matter of our life. And it's not like for the territory, the life, the most precious thing is the life. So it's not about the territory. But if you take the territory, then you will take life. So no territories had ever been given without sacrifice of life. So yeah, man, I wish Russia gets hit with some kind of nuclear shit. Oh, that would be so good. Like when our drones and missiles hit Russian cities sometimes. There was this huge story with one Ukrainian drone reaching Kremlin, hitting the roof of Kremlin. Oh my God, I was excited. I was like, God, finally,
Yeah.
not enough. Not enough.
That's scary. I feel like a nuclear weapon just opens a big can of worms. That's a lot of.
And what can you do? I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
At one point when Chernobyl was at stake, I was like, I would look through the window. I think I went into the pharmacy and I bought some anti-radiation kit or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was sort of emotionally preparing. I was kind of looking through the window, waiting for this, nuclear mushroom appear on the horizon or something. Man, I ain't scared. I mean, listen, if I go, I won't be the only one who goes.
Fuck. That terrifies the
well, you see,
fuck out
that's
of me.
the mentality. Tell me, man, had you been in a warring country for 2 years, 3 years, it would be different. I understand a person who's not been involved. I understand, but if there's a constant risk, like air alarm goes off, and you kind of prepared, you kind of know what's up. I mean, these fucking Russian dudes, they came pretty close to my town when it all began. They got pretty fucking close. I was ready. I was on my goddamn toes. But they were chased away. And again, I don't mean to present myself as any kind of hero. True heroes are serving right now. Those are the true heroes, and all respect and support goes out to them.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you own any weapons, any guns or anything? Are you allowed to over there?
Well, I do. I'm ready. Let's put it that way.
You're ready.
In case shit goes down.
Yeah,
I'm ready. I mean, again, it's I was quite yeah, the gun topic is interesting because it's if the town is occupied, I mean, it's a quite if motherfuckers come on tanks, and they were about to come on tanks, the weapon that me and people have wouldn't be of much support, to be of much help, to be honest. It's like I ain't got some sort of I don't know, bazooka or something like that, so I can take a tank down. So, and then I know stories of people who came from a smaller than mine village, and they had weapon in the household, some guns, right, automatic weapon, but they didn't start shooting because they knew that it would provoke even bigger trouble for their village. So having a gun, having a weapon at home, you got to be smart about it. You don't want to shoot left and right. No, with me, bro, there will be a lot of friendly fire.
No homemade Molotov sitting there ready to go.
Oh yeah, for sure. I did that. It was the first time. Yeah, February 20. No, must have been March 2022 was the first time I messed with Molotov's cocktail.
Fuck, that's so wild.
Yeah,
because we in Australia, we haven't really seen. There hasn't been much media coverage of the war for so long. Like when it first, like they first started invading, it was just all you'd see. But then after 2 months, like unless you look it up, you're not going to see.
Yeah, people get tired of it. International community gets sort of tired. I don't know if it should be like that. I can assume that it's natural that thing will happen, but nobody gets more wasted than Ukraine by all accounts. So nobody gets more exhausted. So when international community gets tired, well, that's cute. That's what I say. That's cute. Yeah, but but it is what it is. People have other issues. Countries have other issues for sure. And lucky you, if you live on an island, Jesus Christ, concentrate on yourself, support your country, be patriotic, it's the best strategy. Don't let no fucking New Zealanders, invade you or whatever.
Oh, where I live, there are so many New Zealanders. So many
Really?
that yeah,
Damn,
yeah.
you're in danger.
So
Better,
because
be on your guard.
well, you don't need a visa, so you can just come over and
Yeah.
work if you're from New Zealand,
Wow.
and vice versa.
Mm,
But we don't want to go there; they all come
wow.
here.
And what, did they come by boats or what?
No, just fly over, and
Okay.
because a
I
lot
thought
of
they were
the
like pirates or something.
nah, nah, very civilized, beautiful country, New
Oh,
Zealand.
that's good. Oh, I bet. The nature
Yeah.
is amazing.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. And they're all like they all come over with because they're all islanders, so they come like
Mm.
Pacific Islanders, so they all come over with grandma, mom, dad, 20
Mm.
kids.
Okay. I bet there's something about people's mentality when they live on an island. I think they're up to no shit. They're not into troubles or anything. They just know they're surrounded by this huge body of water. They know they can drown any moment. So they're I think they're good people.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I don't think we'll be drowning anytime soon. The country's too big, way
Yeah,
too
yeah,
big.
that's good.
But yeah, mostly people are good here. Mostly, not always.
Yeah. And
But
is that, I don't want to be too stereotypical, but Australia is famous with having all kinds of animals and spiders. Are people tired of this shit? You probably get sick of, foreigners mentioning
ah,
some weird kangaroos. No,
so
no.
I in the place I just sold, my house I just sold, we have like had kangaroos and everything come into the yard and all that.
Hmm.
It's very cool. Spiders, I'm terrified of, but I don't really see too many
Really?
of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Okay, that's good.
everything here kills you. Everything.
Oh shit! Wow, it's all poisonous, huh?
Snakes everywhere. They'll yeah.
Wow. Do a lot of people die of snakes bites or something?
Uh, I don't know the statistics to it, but a few.
That would be crazy.
There was one the other day, a few snake bites, and we have like
Wow.
few real deadly snakes here.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So at the
But
office that I
okay.
work in, we've got one that floats around the
Wow.
office. Yeah,
Uh,
you got
one
other
snake?
things. Yeah, just one, like one big,
Yeah.
thick
Damn.
brown
And it's
snake.
not been caught or anything?
No,
Damn,
no.
it's just like a local legend. Beware of the snake,
Yeah,
be careful who live in your office.
just
That
sees
basilisk is
marks.
lurking.
Yeah, literally, just sees
Wow.
marks in the dirt, and if he if he bites you, you've only got like 10 minutes to get to hospital.
Wow, really?
Mm,
Damn. Wow. That's a bit, wow. That's
yeah,
crazy. That's crazy. I wish I lived, well, apparently I live next to animals, but I wish I lived next to different types of animals. My grandma, she was from a different region of Ukraine. And she would always, when I was younger, she would always tell me the stories about living next to wolves, and how these fucking wolves would jump on top of those sheds where people kept chickens
oh,
and
sure,
household stuff, and freaking wolves, they got smart. Motherfuckers evolved. So they would
yeah,
jump on top of a roof and they would try to dismantle to unpack the roof somehow to get inside. I was like, man, I mean, back when she was telling me this, I believed it. I totally
yeah,
bought it. Now, as I've become a bit older, I'm like, bitch, where have you seen a wolf that would be doing? I mean, I never seen like a wolf that would be on a roof trying to unpack some shit. That would be crazy. Yeah, but I think living next to the wild nature, again, it adds up to the appreciation to your life.
oh,
It's like, yeah, wolves don't give a shit. Spiders don't give shit. Snakes don't give shit.
yeah,
They
no,
just bite and that's it.
oh
You
yeah.
know.
We got we got like great white sharks and stuff. Sharks will eat people all
Yeah.
the time, and
Wow. Mm.
crocodiles. Not where I live. No crocodiles where
Oh
I live.
wow.
But yeah, do you
You
guys
ever
get?
seen like a croc? Yeah.
Sorry, go. You go.
Yeah. So crocodiles. That's interesting. Have you ever messed with one? Have you seen it in close proximity?
I had seen a couple wild, but I've never gone too close to it. Not
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. Is
Do you
that
got
fast?
fast crocodiles?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fucking oath they are.
I'm just obsessed with nature. I don't think I've ever seen like crocodile in habitat. In its
Yeah.
natural habitat. And
Quick in
yeah,
water,
crocodiles.
quick in the water,
Okay.
quick on the
Okay.
land.
Damn.
But they'll
Shit.
grab you and then they'll death roll. It's like they just
Like
continuously
spinning.
roll.
Ah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Wow, that's crazy. And what's the
yeah.
difference between a crocodile and alligator?
I think a
Is
crocodile's
alligator
just
bigger?
no. I think a crocodile's bigger.
Really? Alligators are
Yeah,
smaller?
yeah. So I think it's the
That's
jaw.
crazy.
So a crocodile's jaw is a
Yeah.
lot wider with a lot
Mhm.
more force.
And you got those gators?
Nah, no gators here.
Nah, that
No
that
gators
would be
here.
crazy if you got both, right?
Yeah, I know. I think that is the name of my dog though, Gator.
Gator, yeah.
Do you
Fair enough.
do you get bears over there?
Yeah, for sure. Not particular where I live, but we have this mountain region, Carpathian Mountains. It's this mountain range that goes. I think it's part of Romania as well. It's a pretty wild, long mountain range. I love mountains, and in the mountains, not like Rocky Mountains. It's this, mountains covered with forests. So we have bears. We have some wild shit. Bears are quite popular. We have some bears reserve in that region. I think I've seen a lot of types of bears, but it was last time, and it was in a reserve. It was like though last year we went for a hike, and my stupid ass, I brought a knife on the hike when I was in the mountain region because I was like, hey man, I don't know. I've seen DiCaprio taking down a bear. Maybe I can do it, you know.
Fuck,
Yeah, so bears are present.
fuck. See, that scares the fuck out of me. That scares
Bears
me.
are huge, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That scares me a lot more than a snake.
For sure. Yeah,
Oh,
snake, you can stump that shit, right? No way you would stump a bear.
I mean, better chance of getting away from a snake than a.
And then again, I mean, I don't know. I mean, what that dumbass Joe Rogan says? He says that if you encountered with a bear, you gotta pretend to be dead. You gotta drop dead on the ground,
Yep.
But good fucking luck doing it when the bear is around. And son of a bitch is like, sniffing
Yeah.
you. Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't know. I would my hair would turn gray after that encounter.
Yeah.
Shit.
What do they say? If it's brown, lay down. If it's black, fight back.
Yeah, good luck with both of those options, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Wow. And it's
Luckily,
usually the female, right? Like the she bear that's
yeah,
the most dangerous.
yeah, absolutely. Especially if she's got cubs around.
Yeah, right.
But it's crazy because you see all those videos all the time of like mama
Mhm.
bears coming back to houses and
Mhm.
showing them her cubs and all that.
You know what's crazy about bears? When you look at them, every time when I looked at a bear, I never assumed that they are these ferocious wild animals. For some reason, they look like I would play with them, cuddle them, But when you see how fast they can run,
Oh,
running and the power that they possess, Jesus Christ.
yeah, no thanks.
Hell no.
Is there any bears up near like Chernobyl?
I bet there must be a bit of radioactive berries right there.
Yeah,
I bet some of those bears are fucking, addicted to radiation or something.
that's
I
what I
don't
want
know
to
about
know.
that. I mean, I don't know. There's this, what is the name? Red forest or something like that, or ginger forest or something like that. I know that there are some crazy fucking people that live there.
Yeah.
And by the way, I don't think there's radiation. It's been a while since I checked on Chernobyl, but I don't think the level. I think level of radiation is higher in big cities, to be honest. I think they had tested the levels of radiation. I think it's acceptable. But then the question is, what had been done before? What kind of mutations had, I don't know, plants and peoples and animals undergone before? I don't
Yeah.
know. I would love to go there. I've never been a particular fan like Stalker, the series of games. It's a big part of the culture
I
here.
haven't seen it.
I've never been, yeah, it's this famous first person shooter about the Chernobyl, tragedy. Never been
Yeah.
big on radiation, but it would be fun to go there, to
You never been up
erect a
there?
tent. No. It's relatively close, I can get there within some time, relatively short, but I ain't interested.
Yeah, right. Fuck. I'd love to go there, right? I
Oh, that
just
would be nice.
I don't know what it is, but just saying about it just seemed I kind of like those
Imagine putting
abandoned.
up a tent, and staying per night in a tent in that forest.
No thanks.
Man.
No, you'd see some weird shit, hear some weird shit.
Oh, I bet. Doesn't get weirder than people. I've seen a lot of horror films. I think people is the main source of weirdness. I
Oh,
mean, maybe there are some fucked up animals, but make no mistakes, there are fucked up people.
fuck, absolutely. Alrighty then, Bohdan. Thank you for that. It's been very good, very interesting, and
Sure.
definitely keep in contact anyway. And
Hell yeah, for sure. Yeah, thanks for inviting me. It's been nothing but pleasure. Thank
no,
you.
absolutely. So stay safe, and we'll chat again.
Hell yeah, for sure. Thank you very
Thanks,
much.
brother. Have a
Thank
good
you.
one.